Doesn't it look so cute? I'm so proud of myself. Hi, my name is Gabby and I'm new to YouTube. And I started this channel back when I was on maternity leave. And I wanted to create a space for moms like me to find different ways to pay off their debt, as I was also trying to figure out it myself. And I still am. I owned an Etsy shop for over 2 years and I sold garlands kind of like this one made of felt. And I started that before I became a mom, and I did that all through my maternity leave. But after I went back to my full-time job, I quickly realized that being a mom, having a full-time job, and owning a small Etsy shop, even if it's small like mine, it was a lot of work. So now I no longer have my Etsy business, but I am teaching you how to make the garlands that I used to make. And I'm also going to be saving some money because this is for my daughter's birthday party. So instead of buying decorations, I'm making them myself. Okay, enough talking and let's get this party started. Okay, so first things first, there's 2 different ways to make the strawberries. There is a handmade, and you can also use a laser cutter, which I have. I had the laser cutter for my old Etsy shop, so it makes things a lot easier. And this is how it looks with the laser cutter. See how like it looks very perfect, no real mistakes. And if you want to do a handmade, because I know a lot of people don't have a laser cutter, it will look something like this. So it's still pretty easy to cut by hand, but it's not going to be like as perfect looking as this one. So just keep in mind, the one that I'm making is cut by laser, so it's perfect. So if you're cutting with the laser cutter, you're going to need 3 different felt colors. One is going to be the red, like this. One is going to be like beige, like this. And the other is going to be green. If you're cutting by hand, you're only going to need the green and the red. So if you are going to be cutting by hand, let me just quickly show you how I would do it. It's pretty easy, it's not hard at all. Okay, so first I'm going to start with my red felt, and I'm going to cut kind of like a strawberry shape. So kind of oval. But you know, make it look like a strawberry. Like this. And it's okay if it's like not perfect, because we're gonna sew all around it and it's not gonna look weird. I'm going to use this as a guide for my next one. And I kind of just like cut a square around it. And I'm going to cut around that one. So I have 2, the same size. And the cool thing about doing this by hand is that they're not all going to look exactly the same, so that's kind of nice. Let me just fix like the side here a little bit because it's not very symmetrical. Okay, so now I have 2. And I'm going to take the green, and I want to make sure that the green fits on top of the red. So I'm going to cut like kind of this first, and then I'm going to cut around the top. And stop where I kind of want to the leaves to stop, so like right here. And now I can remove the red, and I'm going to make my leaves. So I'm going to make 3 leaves like this, and you can kind of fix it like this. And now see how it fits on top of the red like this, because we're going to be sewing it all around, so we want to make sure that it lines up, you know. And now I'm going to take this example and use it as a guide for my next one, because I want to have it on both sides. So for this, we're going to do a blanket stitch all around it, and it's going to look like this, see? And I am going to use a brown, very thin crochet thread. I get it from Amazon. You can get it from Amazon. And everything that I'm using right now, I'm going to link in the description. So let's start this. Okay, so now I'm going to put this aside for a second, because I'm not going to be using this ones for my daughter's decorations. So I'm going to move on to the laser cut ones. Okay, so I'm going to take one of the beige ones, which is like basically the outline of the whole strawberry. The red part, which is gonna go here and on the back, and the leaves. But I'm going to glue the leaves last. I'm going to sew around first. So let me show you how to do that. So first I'm going to start with passing through the thread in the beige felt. And I keep the knot here, and that's because I want to hide it inside the strawberry. Okay, so now I have both reds on each side, and I'm gonna pass through the same spot that I had before. So I was here, the knot is here. I'm going to go over the knot and over all 3 layers. See? And then keep pulling. Until you have a tiny loop like this one. So once you have this loop, you're going to pass your needle inside and pull, so you make your first knot. And now you're gonna go to next to it. So I like to space them kind of close, but not too close. So I'm like here. I'm gonna pass through all 3 layers, pull, and then you just pull, and see how this is inside the loop. So I'm just gonna pull inside, keep it inside, and then it makes another knot. And I'm going to keep doing this all around. Okay, so now that I'm done going around it, this is where my string is now. I'm going to pass one more time under the last stitch here, and I'm going to get a little bit of the felt too, pass through it, and then just make a knot to close it. So just do like a knot like you would regularly I can talk like you would do, like this. I'm going to take the hot glue and glue the leaves to here. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this top section, and then a little bit here in the middle. And then I'm going to take the leaf and glue it like this. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so this is how it looks now. And I'm going back to my handmade one. I wouldn't do, you know how, let me show you. You know how the laser cutter, I cut holes for the seeds, and then with the brown, it kind of like creates a contrast like this. I wouldn't do the same thing if you were cutting this by hand, because your holes are not going to look like this. It's going to look a little messy. So I would instead do some stitching for the seeds. So let me show you how to do that. So you would take the same thread that you used before, and I am going to pass through here. So the knot is going to be on one side, so this is going to be the inside of your strawberry. And then you pass through one more time right on top of it like this. And now you make like a little line, and this is going to be your seed. And then you keep doing this all around. Doesn't have to be perfect to align. And now that you have your seeds done, you're just going to make a knot here in the back. I would grab the last stitch. The back looks really messy, but don't worry, no one's going to see this. It's going to be on the inside. And you're going to take one of the hoops here and a little bit of felt, but making sure that you don't go to the other side. And just make a knot. Like this, and then you can cut. So for the handmade strawberry, I would stitch it all around it just to make it look a little bit more finished. Like the one that we did with the laser cutter, I didn't stitch the top here because this is where the leaf is, but for the handmade one, I would. Now we're going to take the wax thread, and you can use whatever color you want. I'm using the brown to match with the stitching, and I'm going to make a loop at the end. So I'm going to just make a knot like this. So now I have a loop. I want it to be big enough for my current rods, so I'm just double checking. And then I want this to be around like 4 feet. But obviously you can make it as big or as small as you want. And now I'm going to take a bigger needle, and I'm not going to use 2 passes for this one. I'm just going to do like this, and I'm going to take one of the strawberries and pass my needle right where the red is, but not where you would see the line going through it, you know? And take it to the other side. Now you can pull this. And the good thing about the wax cord is that it's pretty sticky, so it's not going to be moving around too much. It's going to stay pretty much in place. And this is the final product. So cute. And as always, if you like this video, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And in my next video, I'll do a few more strawberry decorations for my daughter's birthday. And if you're thinking about starting your own Etsy business, let me know in the comments. Or if you want to buy a laser cutter like I have, I'll make a video about how I use the laser cutting machine, where I bought it, what softwares I would use for it. And yeah, it's pretty good if you want to do things like this a little bit more often, and if you want to start a business out of this, you're not gonna have time to hand cut everything.